Hey everyone, it's Holly again. Sorry it's been so long since I've uploaded. I think I uploaded a video last in early January, late December. This is probably going to be a long video. I just wanted to update everyone, and I wanted to tell you where I've been and sort of give you a little bit of a backstory. So basically I've been dealing with anxiety and panic attacks since late January. I've dealt with a lot of guilt from the situation that I was in. Plus, I mentioned in one of my other videos that before I had an experience with a narcissist, I had a brief stint, just came out of the blue and started having them at work one day. I had to go on medical leave, and it was just a very hard time for me. And then I met that thing, and so I kind of got to the point where I was doing better. I think a lot of my anxiety was lifted because I was sort of under the impression that he cared about me and all of that stuff. You kind of get this when they do the whole charming phase, I guess, in the beginning, it feels great. And so I was feeling better, and then when he started with his whole narcissistic thing, I kind of went up and down, and but I was feeling better in terms of the panic. I wasn't having any panic attacks. I think I went, almost, well, over 2 years. No. Let's see. Sorry, 1 second. It had been, just over a year, that I had my last panic attack. And then in late January of this year, I started having anxiety, and like, I have anxiety on a daily basis. I always have. I worry about things, but this was more severe. And then I started to get the panicky feeling, and this time, thank God, it hasn't been as bad. I knew how to deal with it. I knew what my triggers were, and I knew what my most of my triggers, and I knew what to do about it. I knew how I could deal with it and how I dealt with it last time, and the way to sort of edge it off. So this time, thank you Lord, it has been it's been upsetting, but at the same time I feel more secure. I feel better about it. I have my support team set up, and that's why I haven't been on here. Honestly, I haven't felt like talking about him. There was a time where, I'll admit I was curious to see, the girl that he not really left me for. Well, I left him, but the girl that he was with after I left him, I wanted to see how that ended up. And I think I've talked about that in one of my other videos, about how there was a little bit of closure for me to know that when they broke up, it was because of the same thing. She left him because, of his drug use and drug selling and all of that. So, that was good for me. And I've spied on him on Facebook for, every now and then. And then, around the time that I started having the anxiety, I thought, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not looking him up. I'm not looking at anything he does. He's dead to me. He's just, there's no other way of saying it. He doesn't exist in my mind, in my world. He just doesn't exist. And that's the best way for me to move forward. I actually found out a way to block his email. He hasn't emailed me since November of last year, but of just 2013, but I found a way to block any email that happened to come through, because I've been told that they'll come back months, years later. And so I've blocked his email. I've changed my number. I've changed everything. I'm just, everything about him is locked out. I just want to move forward from that time in my life. It was very hard for me. And I think it's harder for me in the aftermath, because when you're in that situation, you're in this sort of bubble where it's just not real. You're numb. You don't really see what you're doing. You don't really see the damage that you're allowing to be done to you. I'm not saying it's our fault, or, as victims, but I'm just saying, for me, I sort of blame myself for allowing that to happen to me. But at the same time, I know that at that time, it was very hard for me to get away from him. So I try not to blame myself. It's one of the things I'm working on. There's a guilt factor in that, and in this also as well. In that, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before, it's a little bit of a backstory, but prior to meeting him coming into my life, I was working a great job. I'd been with a guy for with the same person for, oh gosh, it was 7 years at that point. It's been it'll be 9 this year. And we were both working in the same place, both great, doing, great work, great jobs, great pay. We were in a perfect lineup to get married and have our own place. We were looking at houses. We were talking about the future. We were both very excited about it. And like I said, I was working. It was kind of a stressful job, but it was, the pay was great. I, felt like as soon as I got really into the swing of things and really learned how to do everything, that it would be great for me. Which is when I started having the panic attacks a couple months after I started working there. And I don't know what it was, really. It's a whole bunch of factors. I think I was just under a lot of stress and pressure. I wanted to do the best at that job, because I knew a lot of people at the place that I worked, and I wanted to be great. I wanted to learn quickly. I wanted to, make a good impression, I guess. That combined with not the fact that we were talking about getting married, but just the big step of getting married and moving in with him, because we don't live together. And we never have, and it's just our personal convictions. And so it was just that whole big step of getting married and living with someone, and it was just, I don't know if that had something to do with it. It's just a suggestion that people have made to me. There were, other things. I think I was just stressed out. I think I just had a lot on my plate. And I mentioned before in one of the videos that I often wonder if the panic attacks were like a sign of what was to come with him. But anyway, so I was with Matt, my boyfriend, for, at that time, 7 years. After I'd had the panic attacks, I was feeling better. I wasn't working, so I was sitting at home all the time, and when he would get off work, we would do stuff, but and on the weekends and stuff. But other than that, I was just sitting at home bored, and they say idle hands are devil's workshop, and that's so true, because that's when I started talking to him and talking to the narcissist. And I wasn't looking for someone that I can say for sure. I was looking for something positive. I was looking for attention. I don't even know if I wasn't even looking for attention. It was just the fact that the attention that he gave me, I liked. I was pretty low on myself at that point. I felt like a failure. I felt like, I'd finally just gotten this great job and I was in a great position to, move on with my life and start, a marriage and a home. And, I admit my self-esteem was incredibly low at that point. So for him to, which, that's what they look for. They look for people who are down on their luck, I guess, because they want to, because they want someone who's insecure, that they will be reliant on them, I guess. And, so, I gave in to his charm and all of that, and started seeing him, left my boyfriend that I'd been with for a long time, and started seeing him. Keep in mind now, I was not looking for that. I was not looking for something like that. I guess I was just in such an altered state of, I guess I was looking for something exciting and happy because of all of what I'd been through. But I was not looking to leave my boyfriend at all, period. But anyway, we started carrying on this relationship, and Matt stood by my side the whole time. I have guilt about the things that I said and did, and the fact that I pushed him aside so many times because I was just under this, like, brainwashing, I guess. I don't know. And I think back now and I think, gosh, I feel so guilty for what I did. And I think that's a part of why I'm anxious, and I was having the anxiety attacks this time. Just the guilt and the reality, like coming to reality of what I've done and all of that. Once again, trying to let that go. But he stood by my side the whole time, never left me. He wasn't happy about it. There were times we fought, we argued. There were times where we said things that we didn't mean. There were times he said he never wanted to see me again. There were times I said, fine, if that's how you want to be. I don't want to be in a relationship with this guy. There's just something about, I couldn't explain it. It was just something I couldn't explain, and even my family and friends were like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I left him several times. I attempted to leave him, the narcissist, several times. I didn't tell him about that I was still talking to Matt, and he did find out a couple of times and used it against me and blah blah blah. I'm not going to get into all that right now, but and of course he used that against me while he was probably out, seeing other girls and doing God knows what. But so it was hard to go through that. Went through a year of that. Towards the end of that year, Matt told me, he said, I'm just done. I'm done. I don't want to wait around anymore, which I understand completely. I think about that time was when it was closing up, when it was coming to a head. It was coming to an end. And of course I left him. And like I said, Matt was right by my side. I think the last couple of weeks that I was in that relationship or whatever, Matt had sort of come back in the picture a little bit. He was leery of me. He was very cautious, which is not him at all. I mean, we've always been very comfortable around each other. We're best friends. He's my best friend and my love, and that's just how it is. And it was very bizarre to look back and think that we were anything but that. It was sort of like it was a dream, and just a nightmare, rather. And I look back now and I think, God, I just can't even believe it. So he was sort of Matt sort of came back in the picture the last couple of weeks, and I told him, I'm like, you know, I'm gonna leave him. I don't want to be with him. He's crazy. He does weird things. He lies. He does drugs. He sells drugs, probably. Well, I knew he sold drugs. He admitted that to me later. I'm sure he did drugs, and I've told you he's a prescription pill addict. So, but anyway, I finally left him, and Matt was there. We were sort of careful about, you know, when we first, because he was there from day, you know, the whole time. Like I said, there was never, I mean, he was always there by my side, always my best friend, always my confidant, my, you know, my, I guess my brain at that time, because mine was just out in left field somewhere. And so after I left the narcissist, he stayed by my side, and expressed an interest in us getting back together. I wanted to be with him. I wanted to be back with him. I knew it was going to take some time and some trust. Excuse me. And, but he was willing to work on it. And so it sort of worked its way back into a relationship. And, you know, we're back together. And he's never left my side. He's been with me through all of this. He doesn't really understand the whole thing about the narcissism and the pull and the pull that they have on people and all of that. He's a very headstrong person. He's very independent, very not independent like with me, but you know, he's very headstrong and speaks his mind, and whereas I'm a little bit more shy and sensitive. So anyway, that was, sorry, I got off track there. But he's been there with me through the whole thing. And like I said, in January when I started having my anxiety and panic attacks, you know, he was there beside me, and I have a wonderful family and support system. I have actually started gardening for this summer or spring planting and summer harvest, and I started seeding, you know, my plants and stuff like that. So that gives me something to do to take my mind off the anxiety. I might actually make a separate video about how I deal with my anxiety, because it's, you know, it's very specific, do very specific things. I take vitamins. I know from my other videos, you probably know that. I exercise every morning. I get up and I take my vitamins, and I have a little something to eat, and then I walk around, whether it's around my house or, you know, while listening to music, or, you know, outside or whatever. I walk. And it's strange, because I think people with anxiety will understand. When you wake up in the morning, you have energy, but it's nervous energy. So you kind of have to burn that off. You kind of have to like tire that part of your brain out, I guess, even though you just woke up. And so that's what I do. I just walk around the house for, I guess, about 30 or 45 minutes. It's been cold here, but lately it's been nice, so I've been able to get out more. But when it was cold and snowing and icy, I, you know, walked around the house and all of that. Any kind of exercise is great for anxiety. I listen to Christian music. I listen to classical music. I listen to I don't know what you would call it, but it's kind of like spa music. It's just kind of like the harps and the flutes and things like that. And I also use a website called calm.com. They have an app for iPhone, but not Android yet. But I just do it on my computer, my laptop. Calm.com, and it's basically music and a guided relaxation. I'm a Christian, so I'm not keen on the guided meditation. Sometimes there is verbiage and terminology used that I don't agree with. However, this particular website is guided relaxation. So it's just talking about, you know, relaxing your body, relaxing your muscles, all of that. So I use that a lot. In one of my other videos, I talked about niacin. Niacin has probably been the best thing I've ever, one of the best vitamins I've ever taken, in my opinion. You know, I take a multi, but then I take other vitamins separately, and this has been the best that I've taken. I have ADD. It helps with that. It helps with the anxiety. I think I had a touch of, it wasn't depression. I think I was a little bit depressed because of the anxiety coming back. It has taken that away. I take it 3 times a day, 250 milligrams each dose. I take the flush version. I do not take the no flush because I've heard the no flush is not good for your liver. I was trying to see if I had a flush right now because I took it a little bit ago. I take it 3 times a day. I take it when I wake up. I take it in the middle of the day, and then I take another one before bed. And I actually sometimes take it 4 times a day, depending on, you know, however, if I'm feeling a little iffy in between. It's wonderful. I take it, and I love the flush now. I used to hate the flush. It scared me. But when I started like, it's weird because I think the anxiety made me scared to have a flush. It's a full body flush. It feels like a hot flash or a sunburn. I'd heard people talk about the flush before, and it made me nervous about it. Well, the first time I had a flush, I kind of got a little nervous about it, but then I was like, you know, this isn't so bad. I thought it was going to put me into a panic attack, but it didn't. And I felt calm. I mean, in my mind, I felt calm. And then I had this burst of energy, just natural, pure, feel-good energy. And it was just, it felt great because I'd felt so lazy before that, before I started taking it. I just felt so blah. And when I took it, I had this burst of energy, and then I laid down under the fan that was over my bed to cool off from the flush, and I got so relaxed I felt like I could fall asleep. So, and I've noticed that as I've taken it more, I started at 25 milligrams 3 times a day, and I've worked myself up to 250 milligrams 3 times a day, and I plan on going a little bit higher with it, just depending on, you know, how it works and all of that. But I've noticed that whenever I do have a flush, I have a burst of energy, followed by just a relaxation. But it does depend on what you're doing when you have the flush. If you're doing something like, you know, I tend to do something productive like laundry or cleaning, you know, my room or my bathroom or whatever, or the kitchen, you know, right after, because it will give you a huge burst of energy. But if you are watching TV, laying down after the flush subsides, you'll relax and you'll feel like you want to take a nap. And speaking of which, I take it at night, so it puts me to sleep literally in 15 minutes. Less than that, actually, because I mentioned the calm.com thing. I've kind of gotten past that now, but like when I was really anxious, I would take my niacin before bed, and then I would lay down and do the calm.com, and they have a 2, 5, 10, 15, and 20 minute guided relaxation. So I usually do the 20. Well, she talks at first and she relaxes you, and then there's a brief period of where it's just playing the music, and then at the end of the session she'll say, your session's complete. I remember one night I took the niacin and I felt so sleepy that I started my relaxation, and I did the 15-minute this time. And I remember starting the relaxation, and then I don't remember anything. And then all of a sudden, it woke me up because she said, this is the end of your session, because I was like just almost asleep to that point where, you know, just that woke me up a little bit, and I immediately went back to sleep. So it puts you out quickly. You stay out. I've never slept this deeply in my life on a regular basis. It just puts you out. You know, I've jokingly said before, I don't even know who I am for about 8 hours while I'm sleeping, but it really does. You sleep a good deep sleep. You wake up feeling, when you first wake up, you feel a little bit groggy, but then it's not like a bad groggy. It's not like a sleeping pill groggy. It's like you just woke up out of a deep sleep kind of thing. Once you wake up, you're up, and it's fine. There's no hangover. There's no anything. It's the most wonderful thing I've ever taken. I will do a video about that as well, because I did a video on niacin. I'm sorry, my cat's playing with my camera. I did a video on niacin, and to be honest with you, I hadn't taken it to the point where it was really giving me results at that point. So I want to do another one because it is incredible, and I actually hope to catch my flush on camera so that you can see what it's like. But that's what I've been doing for my anxiety, and I pray, you know, I pray when I feel anxious. There's a verse in the Bible, I can't remember it right now, and I just told somebody it the other day, but basically it's, if I have a negative thought that causes anxiety or something like that, I'll immediately say, Lord, take my thoughts captive and make me obedient to you. And I forget about it, and I let it go. I let it go to him, and you know, just immediately it's gone. So I have my little, you know, and I do my devotionals at night. I read my Bible at night. I know not everybody, you know, is a Christian, but that's definitely something that's helped my anxiety. And when, you know, like, I think the word meditation is thrown around, like, and people think of yoga, but really meditation starts with your faith. I mean, it starts with the faith. It starts with Christianity and all of that, because meditating is like the same as praying. You know, you just focus all your attention and your mind on that, on the prayer, on God. And so that's kind of how that helps. But anyway, so that's where I've been. Like I said, I didn't want to talk about him. Actually, I was feeling kind of anxious a little bit earlier, and I thought I need to get on there and do a video, but then the thought of it just made me anxious. Well, I took my niacin, and I've been feeling better. So I got on here just to tell you where I've been and tell you that I haven't forgot about any of y'all, and I hope that it's helped. I noticed by some of the comments that it has helped, and you can relate to my story, and I'm totally, you know, that makes me feel good to know that I've helped someone, or, you know, someone can relate to me and they're validated in that way. But I haven't forgotten about you. I literally did not want to get on and talk about him at all, period. He's the scum of the earth, and I don't even want to think about him. I think there for a while, whenever I would get anxious, it was due to a thought of him, or not even like a thought. Like, I wasn't sitting there like thinking about him, like, oh, I miss him. It was just something, somebody would say something, or just something would pop into my head, and I would automatically just cringe. It was awful. It was the most, ugh. It was awful. Panic attacks are awful anyway, but, you know, this whole thing about getting out of a relationship with a narcissist and going no contact, I'm telling you, it's serious business. You need to get away from them as soon as possible. There's no change in them whatsoever. I've tried to change 3. 3 different narcissists. One was my ex-boyfriend from, I dated him before I dated Matt, started dating Matt, my now boyfriend. And, I tried to change him. I didn't know what his deal was, but now I know he was a narcissist. And then there's another one that he was sort of, we were never together. He was sort of the unattainable. I have all ideas that he was a different form of narcissist. I think he was like, or I think I was sort of like his go-to girl when he, you know, wanted to like talk or flirt or whatever. I mean, he doesn't even live close to me. He lives like 2 hours away. So, you know, there were times where he would text me or call me, and I don't know exactly what the point was, because I wasn't going to pick up and go see him, and he wasn't going to, you know, he was working. So, but prior to that, you know, when he lived closer, he just gave me false hope all the time, and it was a bad situation. So I've tried to change 3. There's no changing them. They don't change, period, end of sentence. You won't change them. That was my big thing, was that I thought if I can change him, I'll feel better about myself. You know, go find another way to make yourself feel better. Like I was saying, I do the gardening thing. That's been wonderful. It's been just incredible. I actually want to have my own farm one day, and this is my first big garden. I've had vegetable gardens before, but this is my first big, huge project garden. I'm very excited about it, and we will be planting, hopefully, right before Easter. Matt's dad, Matt and I are doing the garden at his house, because he's got a huge yard where we can actually do it, and his dad is helping us, and he said, the best thing to do is plant on Good Friday, which is mid-April this year. It's kind of late, but I think that's perfect, because we've had such weird weather here in the southeast that it's just very cold weather, unseasonably cold, or unregionally cold, I guess, because we've never, I don't know, it's been really cold and we've had monkey weather. But so I'm kind of hoping that we don't have a late frost, because I've worked so hard seeding all these plants, and I don't want it all to go to waste. But if it does, it does. It's a learning experience. I gotta let go of that control. But anyway, so I just wanted to let you know where I've been. If you're going through the same thing, if you're at the same stage, just know that I have anxiety too about it. I don't know if it's just from the guilt of that. I don't know if it's just sort of remnants of prior to that, if it's still just the anxiety just sort of has come back. I think it has a lot to do with both. I think I never got that resolved, and I think there was a false sense of security and happiness with the narcissist, and so I think I've kind of I don't know, I think I've kind of not really started over, but I sort of took a couple steps back, and I need to learn how to not worry and not stress myself out and all of that. Plus there's some serious guilt from what I did, how just being with that, I was not in my right mind at all. He definitely messed with my mind, but it's a life lesson, I guess. So anyway, yeah, like I said, that's where I've been. It's been almost 5 months, which I'm very excited about. 5 months no contact on the 9th of March. So 5 months no contact. And actually this is weird, and I don't know if anybody else has heard this or not, but I've heard that short-term types like this, that you can almost estimate your recovery time is half. You know, I was with him for a year, on and off, like I said, because I tried to leave him several times. But so, like, I'm looking forward to the 6-month period where, you know, just to see, like, if I have, I mean, I don't have any desire to talk to him. He repulses me. I literally am repulsed by the thought of him, so that's always good. If I could just, you know, not ever have to think about it again, which is my goal, but, you know, every now and then I have a weak moment where I just feel guilt and just sick to my stomach that I did that. You know, that I saw him, dated him, whatever. But anyway, 6 months. But then again, I've brought that up with some girls that I talked to that have dealt with a narcissist too, and they were with their husbands for, you know, 15, 20 years. So they're like, what is mine? You know, is mine going to be 10 years? So I don't know that that's totally true, but I do think that getting over a relationship takes some time. I don't even want to think of it as a relationship, but getting over the abuse, I guess, is going to take, you know, has taken some time, and hopefully I'm on the final part of my recovery, and I'm, you know, definitely feeling better. But like I said, they will never change. Get out as soon as possible. If you're still in a relationship with one, there's absolutely no sense in dragging yourself through it any more than you already, you know, than you've already been dragged through what they've dragged you through. So it's going to be hard at first. The first couple weeks were the hardest, I think. But I always second guess myself. I always wondered, you know, am I gonna like break down and call him? But really, I think I was at that point where I just had enough, and I was done, and I was over it. And so I you know, I just made up my mind and I did it. Then again, it came in waves where I would feel better and then I would feel like crap. Not like I missed him, but just like crap, because I felt guilty. And just, I don't know, it brings about stress, it brings depression, it brings anxiety. And anyway, talking about it has helped. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. I will try to upload a video for the niacin that I was telling you about, and also for what I do for my anxiety, because I feel like that would be helpful. And anyway, so if you have any questions, I am doing better though, and I cannot wait till spring because I'm very excited to start my garden and all of that. And I also have I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I have 2 chickens, 2 full-grown chickens. Matt and I do. They stay at his house. Like I said, he has a huge, you know, yard, and they have a huge property. So, and I have a large yard, but my mom, you know, she's more about flowers and stuff like that. She likes to garden too, but she's more about the flowers, and so there's really not that much space to plant a huge garden at my house, but his, you know, there is. And we also have chickens. We have 2 full-grown chickens, and we have 2 silky chicks that are just turned 15 weeks old. They will be going out into the big coop with the big girls at 18 weeks, which is 3 weeks from now. And actually, we discovered that one of the silkies is a rooster, which we can't have in the city limits. So we're going to have to get rid of him as soon as we can. As soon as, you know, we were hoping to sort of get with the lady that we bought them from and switch them out for a hen, but we don't know how that's going to go. So, so we're just kind of enjoying all of that stuff, and you just have to find a hobby. I'm so glad that I found these hobbies, you know, raising chickens and having a garden and all of that stuff. And I have my parents have some property that, you know, could potentially be where Matt and I live when we do get married, with a lot of acreage. And so, you know, I would like to do the whole farm thing. So we're going to see how that goes, and we're going to see how I feel after this huge garden. But I feel like it's something that I really enjoy. It's something that's really helped me in my recovery from all of this, because it's really given me a purpose and given me something to look forward to and something to keep my mind occupied. And you know, I also am looking for work, and but it's kind of hard with the anxiety. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, if you have any questions, post them. And like I said, I'll see you shortly. Hopefully I'll be able to get another video up tomorrow or the next day. So thanks for watching, and everyone have a great day. Thank you.